Okay, good afternoon, good morning class. So today we're carrying on with the paper 1. So yesterday we've ended off with question 3. Okay. Okay, so now we're looking at question 4. Question 4, we are told that the sketch below shows f of x is equal to negative 3x squared minus 9x plus 3, and g of x is equal to negative 12x plus 12. That's going to write the other side. F of x is equal to negative 3x squared minus 9x plus 30, and g of x is equal to negative 12x plus 12. F of x has the x-intercept at a and b, x-intercepts at a and b, and the turning point of f is at e. C is a point on f of x. C is a point on f of x, D is a point on g of x such that CD is parallel to your y-axis. H and K are points of intersection of the two graphs. Okay. I'll take it up now. So minimize this a bit. Right, first question. The question says, determine the x coordinates of A and B. So how do we calculate the x-intercept at y equal to 0? The question paper and memo can be found in the description box below. Okay, so x-intercept, what do? We let y equal to 0. Not so since A and B is on f of x, so I'm going to set f of x equal to 0, as we know that f of x is your y. So it's negative 3x squared minus 9x plus 30. I can go and use your trinomial factorization, or you can use your completing of the square, quadratic formula. Why don't we use this calculator? So it's going to be negative 3, negative 9, and 30. So x equal to 2 and x equal to negative 5. So the x coordinate of B is going to be 2. As you can see, it's on the positive part of the x-axis. And the x coordinate of A is going to be negative 5. Okay. Then ask you for the coordinates. You now would have written the coordinates of B is going to be negative, the coordinates of A is going to be negative 5 and 0. And then B would have been 2 and 0. The question was for the coordinates. Okay. Let's look at 4.2. It says the length of AB. Now, do I need a distance formula here? No, you don't need a distance formula. As you can see, the y values are constant, 0. So from there to there is 5, and from there to there is 2. So AB is going to give you 7 units. Okay. Look at 4.3.
9C, please report to the office.
So in question 4.3, we asked determine the coordinates of E, the turning point. So how do you calculate the turning point? Negative B over 2A. This is your x value. So it's negative minus 9 over 2, and your A value is negative 3. So it's going to give you 9 over negative 6, which is negative 3 over 2. Which confirms where E's lying. Can you see that? So it's going to give you negative 3 over 2 is your axis of symmetry. Then what we do with that is we substitute it into f of x. So f of negative 3 over 2. So they give you negative 3 into negative 3 over 2 squared. Minus 9 into negative 3 over 2 plus 30. That gives us, so you say negative 1.5. So it's answer squared times negative 3 minus 9 answer plus 30. Of course, that answer has to be positive. So it gives you 147 over 4. So 147 over 4. Or 3 comma 36,75. Or 36 and 3 quarters. But did I answer the question? The question was for E. So E is going to be negative 3 over 2 and 36,7. Okay. We all agree with that? Any confusion? So all these calculations that I've done thus far is now on the diagram. So we'll just erase that. Let's go with 4.4. In question 4.4 it asks you to calculate the coordinates of H. But what is H to us people? H is the point of intersection of the two graphs. So how do I calculate points of intersection? I said the two graphs equal to each other. This is what we call simultaneous equations as well. And remember, y is equal to that and y is equal to this. So we're going to solve for x and y simultaneously. So it's going to be negative 3x squared minus 9x plus 30 is equal to negative 12x plus 12. Take everything to one side, so it's negative 3x squared. Negative 9x plus 12 is plus 3x. And 30 minus 12 is negative 18 is equal to 0. Again, many ways of solving this sum here. I'm just going to go the easy way on the calculator. It's going to be negative 3, 3 and negative 18. Whoops, that is not right. Negative 3, 3 and negative 18. Negative 3 is negative 30. Negative 12 plus 12. Oh, this must be positive 18. Right. So it's going to be 3. You see, when I got an I value, then I knew that it's going to be imaginary. But according to the diagram, you can see it's cut. Okay. And you got negative 2. But which one of the two is H? Is H the negative or positive? Correct? It's negative. And why do I have two solutions? Because there are 2 points of intersection. There's one at H and one at K. So which one is it? There has to be the negative 2. So what I do is I substitute negative 2 either into G or into H. I'm going to go with G. So negative 12 times negative 2 plus 12. Before I now actually work it out, of course that value is going to be less than 36 and 0.75. Can you see that? And also, you look where H lies. H lies on the left-hand side of negative 3 over 2. It all makes sense. Okay, so that's going to be a positive 24 plus 12 is 36. So therefore, H is going to be negative 2 and 36. Okay. Look at 4.5. Question 4.5 says determine the value for x for where f of x is less than or equal to g of x, where g of x on top of or equal to f of x. So here is g on top or at the bottom? On top, and this is actually what I want. Can you see that? On the side here, f is on top. Can you see that? Up until k. Again, then g is on top. Not so? So in other words, x has to be less than negative 2 over 3, or x must be more than the k value, which is 3. You see that, people? Just take it off. I want the diagram to populate it in. So we see it has to go in this direction. So x must be less than and equal to -2, or x must be more than or equal to. Your k value here, your x value here is of course 3. So 3 and some y value. So x must be more than or equal to 3. Okay. 4.6, 7, 8. There's 3 more questions. Let's put it down. .5. Determine the maximum length of FC for x is greater than or equal to -2 but less than or equal to 3. People, what does this mean? This means to say that C is between -2 and 3. Can you see anywhere between that? That is where CD will lie. Can you see that? So the question says determine the maximum length of CD. So how do you calculate the length of CD? It's going to be the top graph minus the bottom graph. Looking from on top, C comes first. So which graph is on top? Is the F graph or the G graph on top? F graph. So it's going to be the f of x graph minus the g of x graph. What is the equation of the f of x graph? What's the equation? The equation is negative 3x squared minus 9x plus 30 minus the g of x graph, which is negative 12x plus 12, which gives you negative 3x squared minus 9x plus 30 plus 12x minus 12. So that's going to give us negative 3x squared plus 3x plus 18. Okay. So if we do maximum or minimum, what do we do? First derivative. Set equal to 0 to calculate the value at which x occurs at. The derivative of CD with respect to x, so they give you negative 6x plus 3. And I say that equal to 0 and drop that. So x is equal to half. So what do we do with that? Is half between these two values? Yes. So I can now substitute that into CD. So therefore, CD is equal to negative 3 into a half squared plus 3 times a half plus 18. So it's going to be a negative 3 answer squared plus 3 answer plus 18. Gives me 18,75. Or 18 and 3 quarters, or 75 over 4. All of that is acceptable. Any confusion? Another way I could have done exactly the same thing was I could have completed the square. So what I do is I first say CD is going to be the top graph minus the bottom graph. I then get CD to be negative 3, negative 3x squared plus 3x plus 18. And what I do is I complete the square. I take out negative 3 as a common factor. So let me change the color here. I'll show you there's another way. You can leave you at x squared minus x minus 6, which now gives me negative 3 into x squared minus x plus a number minus that same number minus 6. And what's the number in question here? It's going to be b times half, which is a half squared, so it's 1 over 4. So it's going to be negative 3 into perfect square trinomial, so it's x minus a half squared. That's going to give you negative 6 and a quarter. Get rid of the outer bracket, so multiplying that in is going to be negative 3 into x minus a half squared plus, and 6 and a quarter times 3. So going to give us 75 over 4. So what's the question? Determine the maximum length. So therefore the maximum length is going to be 75 over 4. And if they ask you at which x value it occurs at x is equal to. Okay, you guys understand? Right. This is a nice question. Please know exactly what's going on there for your next exam as well. Okay. People 4.7. The question says determine the value for k if y is equal to negative 3x plus k is a tangent to the graph of f of x. That is for 5 marks. Okay. So firstly, as we know, this is going to be a negative gradient. Okay, so the graph is going to look something like that. Okay, touching that at one point. I don't say it's going to be at C, but it's here somewhere. Okay, if it's a bit steeper, it will be a bit lower, of course. Okay, I don't say it's exactly, but somewhere on the side of negative 1.5. It has to be on the side. Okay. Why? Because the gradient is negative. Determine the value of k. So in other words, we're going to work out this y-intercept. Okay. If y is equal to negative 3x plus k is a tangent to the graph. People, so if there's a tangent, we of course need to know the point of contact. Okay, but what do we have? We have the gradient of the tangent. Not so, but how do we calculate the gradient? First derivative. So f prime x is equal to negative 6x minus 9. I'm taking it from here. I'm applying the derivative. This is a general gradient anywhere along the curve. But I have a specific point on that curve I'm interested in. It leaves me with a gradient of negative 3. So f prime x, which is negative 3, is equal to the gradient, which is equal to negative 6x minus 9. A solve for x is going to be negative 6x, take it over, comes minus 9, minus 3 plus 9 is 6. So x is equal to negative 1. So there's a very shallow gradient here. Eh? So that means you say this point here is actually around there. Okay, because if that is negative 1.5, the negative 1 has to lie here. Okay. So what do I do now? That is negative 1. So what do I need? I need the corresponding y value. Okay. So how do I get the corresponding y value? This is a common point to the tangent and to f of x. So if I put negative 1 into f of x, I'll get the corresponding y value. So negative 1 is equal to negative 3 times negative 1 squared minus 9 times negative 1 plus 30. So they give you negative 3 plus 9 plus 30, which gives you 36. So this is that point there, which is negative 1 and 36. Alright. So what I do now is, remember the point of contact 1 and 36, I substitute 1 and 36, negative 1 and 36, into y is equal to negative 3x plus k. As you can see, there's one unknown that I need to solve here, which is k. Remembering that's an x and a y, so 36 is equal to negative 3 times negative 1 plus k. So k has to be 33. Okay. So determine the value of k if it's a tangent, so k has to be 33. Did anybody get 33 that I marked wrong? I wrote 39. So it's positive 3, yeah, it's 33, not 39. Okay, so I made a mistake in the moment. Okay, so if you add 33 to circle the question, you should get the mark. Okay. Okay. So let's look at the next question. The next question says 4.8. solve for A. If f of negative 2 over g of 2a is equal to 6. So f of negative 2, remember this is f of x here. So whenever I see x, I put a negative 2. So it's negative 3 into negative 2 squared minus 9 times negative 2 plus 30 over. So this is this part here. Of g of 2a, whenever I see a x, I replace it with 2a. So it's going to be negative 12 times 2a plus 12. And this is equal to 6. And that's 6 over 1. So I'm just tidy up the top first. So that's going to be 4 is negative 12 plus 18 is 6. And 6 plus 6 is 36. And this is over negative 24a plus 12 is equal to 6 over 1. Cross multiply. Well, I take that 6 down and the negative 24a plus 12 up. Don't worry about that. So it's 36 over 6 is equal to negative 24a plus 12. So that's going to give you 6, not so. And 6 minus 12 is equal to negative 24a. 6 minus 12 is negative 6. So negative 24. Negative 6 divided by negative 24 gives me an answer of a quarter. So A will be a quarter. Okay? Beautiful, no? Then again, all the sums are beautiful. People? 5.1. The question says, you are given h of x is equal to 2x minus 5 over x minus 2. Okay. Determine the value of x and determine the x and y intercepts of h. People, how do you calculate our x intercept? Let y equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 2x minus 5 over x minus 2. Cross multiply. 0 times anything is 0. So 0 is equal to 2x minus 5. So x works out to be 5. Okay. Then your y-intercept. What do you do for y-intercept? Then x equal to 0. So h of 0, of course, is equal to 2 times 0 minus 5, which is minus 5, over 0 minus 2, which is minus 2. Also gives you 5 over 2. Not so? So then the question says, given that h of x can be written as y is equal to a over x minus 2 plus q, show that a is negative 1 and q is 2. So again, I can't use this in my calculation. I must end off with this. Alright. So what do? Is I say, okay, you got h of x is equal to 2x minus 5 over x minus 2. So what I do is I say, okay, this here can be written as h of x equals. So I'm going to find a factor here. Okay? So we know that if you got x minus 2 and we have the 2x here. So what am I shorting for this to be divisible by the numerator? Shorting minus 4. Not so? Because if I take this a step further, this should be x minus 2 and 2 into x minus 2. Can you see that will cancel? You see it? That cancels, which gives you that 2 that they're looking for. So we then say plus. So what must be added to make this equivalent? Negative 1. So it's minus 1 over x minus 2. So what's the equation? Negative 1 over x minus 2 plus 2. So therefore a is negative 1 and q is 2. Okay. Now to do it, I'll put it in the next exam as well. You will ask me nicely. Okay. Because I know how to do it. Yeah, because we want this to be divided into that. You understand? So if this was a 5 here, then I can't divide that into that without a remainder. So what I do is I look for factors so that we can cancel, so that I can be left with a constant. Okay. Again, the question paper and memo can be found in the description box below. Yes? Sorry? Why would you like to write a comment paper? Would you like to write a comment? No, okay, good. Why not? Because yes, good start. My papers are easier, okay? What makes it better? The colors on the paper. Okay, so the equation reads at this point, g of x, so what's it, h of x is equal to negative 1 over x minus 2 plus 2, no? That's what it reads so far. Right, next question. Draw the graph of h, label all the intercepts as well as the asymptotes. You got y, you got the x. The horizontal asymptote is y is equal to 2. And your vertical asymptote is x is equal to 2. This is negative, so it lies in quadrant 2 and 3. And you cut your y-axis at 5 over 2, and your x-axis is also at 5. Yeah, that you must write down, and the equations of your asymptotes on the So there's 3 marks allocate 4 marks. So 1 for the shape, it's a hyperbola, it must clearly be a hyperbola. 1 for your x and y axis of symmetry, 1 on your x-intercept and 1 on your y-intercept. 4. Okay. People, question 5.4. The question says determine the domain of h of x plus 1. People, what is the domain of the graph currently? What's the domain? X is an element of all real numbers. X not equal to 2. But what effect does x plus 1 have on the graph? The graph moves, yes, shifts 1 unit to the, you're making so, but you're saying to the left, yes. It will always be the additive inverse on your x. So if this moves 1 unit that way, so the asymptote now goes to x is equal to 1. So what is the domain of this function? X is an element of all real numbers. X is not equal to. Okay. Beautiful. Right. Ayat, did you get your question right, my girl? Is Ayat in today? You got it right? No, man, Ayat. I'm not going to use your name again. Yes. Right, Ayat has some money. Ayat doesn't have some money. Ayat has a lot of money. Ayat? Ayat has some money to invest. She goes to 2 banks to find out what they offer. Peninsula Savings offers 8% compounded monthly and Corporate Capital offers 9% compounded annually. Calculate the effective annual interest rate for Peninsula Savings. People, effective to nominal formula, 1 plus I effective is equal to 1 plus I to the m over m to the m. So it's 9% compounded annually, so it's an effective interest rate. No. Peninsula, I'm calculating Peninsula, sorry. 8% compounded monthly. So I got 1 plus IE is equal to 1 plus 0,08 over 12 to the exponent 12. So your effective rate is, so put in the calculator, open brackets, 1 plus 0.08 over 12 to the exponent 12 minus 1. And then multiply that by 100 to get the rate. 8.3%. 8.3%. Next question, 6.1.2. The question then says, hence compare the two banks and how by it decide which offers the better investment. So if you're looking at Peninsula Savings, so because the annual compounding is also an effective interest rate. Can you see that? So that is, then gives me a fair opportunity to compare the two. So if it's an investment, we're going to look at the one who gives a better return. If it was a loan, then it's the one with we would want to pay less. Can you see that? But this one, of course, clearly gives you a better investment. So therefore, I should be taking the corporate capital. Corporate capital, why? Because it has a better effective interest rate. Okay. What's wrong? Did I mark you wrong?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm checking now. You're talking so much, I have to check the memo. Alright. Alright, next time when you have a lot of money, come to me, I can help you out. Okay. People in question 6.2. A car cost 245,000 when it was new. Now it's worth 110,000. Calculate the annual rate of depreciation on the reducing balance method. What's the formula? A is equal to P into 1 minus I to the exponent. It is worth now 110,000. It was worth 245,000 into 1 minus. We're calculating I. The question says, on 5 years, calculate your answer to 1 decimal place. So here, 1 decimal place, your answer must be in 1 decimal place. If you don't, of course, you're going to be penalized. Okay? So what do I do first? I divide both sides by 245,000. So it's 110,000 divided by 245,000. Then what am I left with? 1 minus I to the exponent 5. Now I take the fifth root both sides. The thousands cancels. No? Then I'm left with the fifth root of 110 over 245, which is equal to 1 minus I. You take a 1 over, becomes minus 1 is equal to minus I. Divide by negative 1 both sides, then multiply it by 100, and then get the rate of negative open brackets, the fifth root of 110 over 245 minus 1 times I2. Gives you 14.8%. Okay. Any confusion there? Let's look at the next one. Who's Nikita? You're absent. Why did Nikita got the summary? Nikita has received a bonus of 120,000. Nikita is not a teacher. Alright? From her aunt. Alright. She wishes to use the money for holiday to celebrate the 40th birthday in 10 years' time. But we tell ourselves we're never going to reach it. Let's spend half of it now and the other half next week. Alright. In 10 years' time, she invests the money into the bank account with an interest rate of 5% compounded quarterly for the... Okay, timeline. Let's make this a bit smaller. So let's go. So T0 gets a bonus of 120,000 from her aunt. She wishes to use the money for holiday to celebrate the 40th birthday in 10 years' time. She invests the money in the bank account with an interest rate of 5% compound quarterly for the first 3 years. Takes me to T3. So the interest rate is 5% compounded quarterly for the first 3 years, and then after 6.2% per annum compounded monthly. So it's going to take you to T10. So it's going to be 6.2% compounded monthly. She plans to deposit an additional 25,000 5 years after she opened the KU. So it's going to add 25k. She need the initial amount is 120,000. Okay. How much will Nikita have in the account at the end of the 10-year period? Alright, so let's go. So people, there's many ways of doing this timeline question. Okay, I'm going to take the totals to the end. Okay, to make it seem to be easier. So A total. Firstly, the formula is P into 1 plus I to the exponent. So your A total is going to be P, which is 120. I'm going to take this. We must first be grounded at 3 because of the interest rate changes for that last period. Okay? So it's going to be 120,000 into 1 plus 5%, this is 0.05 over 4 to the exponent 4 times, and that's for 3 years. Then what happens? You draw another 7 years interest. You see that picture? So it's into 1 plus 0.062 over 12 to the exponent 12 times 7. Alright? So that is what's going to happen to the 120,000. Let's go to the 25,000. You're just going to draw that to the end of the year. So it's plus because it's a deposit. If it had to be a withdrawal, it would have been a minus. So it's going to be 25,000 into 1 plus 0.062 over 12 to the exponent 12 times 5. And from here it's just a matter of substituting into your formula. 120,000 into 1 plus 0.5 over 4 to the exponent 4 times 3 and 1 plus 0.062 over 12 to the exponent 12 times 7 plus 25,000 into 1 plus 0.62 over 12 to the exponent 12 times 5. Gives me 248,802 rand and 1 cent. 248,802 and 1 cent. Or 2 cents. Was it 2 cents? 1 cent. Okay. Any confusion there? No? Right, question 7. Determine the derivative of f of x equals 2x cubed using first principles. What would have you said the word? By definition. Okay. So we know the formula is f prime x equals the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. So if f of x is 2x cubed, then f of x plus h, wherever I see here x, I put the x plus h, is 2 into x plus h cubed. So it's 2 into, it's the same as saying x plus h squared into x plus h. So it's going to be 2 into x plus h, and x plus h squared is going to give you x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Multiply that story out, so it's 2 into x times x squared. X times 2xh is 2x squared h, and x times x squared, h times x squared is going to give you hx squared, so it's going to give you 3x squared h plus x times h squared is going to give you xh squared, and h times 2xh is going to give you 2xh squared. Add that gives you 3xh. And the last one is plus h. Multiply the 2 in, it's going to be 2x squared plus 6x squared h plus 6xh squared plus, yeah? cubed. Thank you. So that's going to give me f prime x equals the limit as h approaches 0. Alright, so f of x plus h, that all tutti frutti there, so it's 2x cubed plus 6x squared h plus 6xh squared plus 2h cubed minus f of x, which is 2x cubed all over h. That's simply the limit as h approaches 0. So if I multiply that in, I'm going to get negative 2x cubed, which cancels this. Not so. So what is common now? H. I'm left with 6x squared plus 6xh plus 2h squared all over h. Which that now cancels. Leaves you with, and wherever I see h, I put a 0. The answer is 6x squared. Okay. And that is worth 5 marks. It's normally, yeah, 5. So 5 for that. 7.2. 7.2, they say determine the derivative of the following. Leave your answer with positive exponents when necessary. You did not have to do first principles here. Okay. So if f of x, f prime x, if f of x is equal to that. So we must first get it in the form of ax to the exponent in. Alright, so we're going to change that to exponential from a radical. So it's going to be x to the third plus, we bring that one up, x minus 5. Apply the derivative now. So f prime x equal to the third x, if I subtract 1 from that exponent, I now get minus 2/3. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, minus 1 is negative 6. Bring that down, so it's 1 over 3x 2/3 minus 5 over 6. Don't take the 5 down as well. That is only on the x. Okay. Any confusion there? 7.2.2. Again, we must get it in the form of ax to the n. So this is not going to work. So big D, take out, you factorize that, so it's x into x minus 2, of course. Why do I know it's? Because I must cancel the denominator. So it will be x plus 4 over x minus 2, and yes, it works if I multiply that up. That cancels, gives you the derivative of x to be x into x plus 4. Get rid of the inner bracket to get it again in that form, so it's going to be x squared plus. Now I can apply the derivative, not so. So I drop the d, which gives me now 2x plus. Okay, our favorite question. Nobody got any marks yet? People divide the x. So we must have y in terms of x, yes. So, no. So there is the y and the x, it's not so. So what I do is I say, okay, get rid of, the y must be the subject of the formula. So how do I get y on its own? Get rid of the third. How do I get rid of the third? Raise it to the power 3. The radical of x, or x, the square root of x can be written as x to the If I apply the cube, it's cube there, I must apply the cube there as well. So we got y is equal to x to the 3 over 2. You see that? Now I can apply the derivative, not so. So dy over dx equals 3 over 2, x minus 1 is going to give you. What's wrong? Huh? You can't believe it's so easy. Okay. The next one. This one is a bit sticky. So here you have x in terms of z. So in other words, we must eliminate there's the z and there's the x. So hang on, we must get rid of the y. Not so. So you're going to sub that y into that story. So I got the root of x is equal to z to the minus 3 raised to the power a third. Not so? So that's going to give me negative 1, so z to the minus 1 equals x to the half. So I say, okay, hang on. I must make x the subject of the formula, so I must get rid of the exponent. So I raise this to the power 2 both sides. So x is equal to z to the minus 3. Now do I have x in terms of z? Yes, now I can take the derivative. Which is going to give us dx over dz equals negative 2z to the minus 3, which is negative 2 over z. Okay. I know you're telling yourself you can't believe it's so easy. No? Yes, okay, nice. I like that thought. People, this has been, I've used, when I did a memo, I realized, hey, I've done this so many times in so many of my papers, and I use this question so many times. Give you my this, man. This was in my last year's cycle test as well. So if you guys had used all the stuff I gave you, you would have came across this question a few times. Okay.
Octavia Isaacs, can you please report to the office? Octavia Isaacs, please report to the office.
Alright, so here we are told that f of x is equal to h cubed minus cx plus d, and a, which is negative 3 and 4, b, which is x and y, are stationary points are turning points. The function cuts the y-axis at negative 2. So what do I have is f of x equal ax cubed minus cx plus d. Everything else is on the diagram. Right, so let's go. First question, 8.1. So 8.1 says find the value of d. People, don't need to look a long way or far away. We know that d is your y-intercept. Okay. So you thought, okay, insulting my intelligence here, just give it to them. It's minus 2. Okay. The d gets replaced with negative. Right. Find f prime x in terms of a and c. So 8.2. So apply my derivative. So f prime x equal, it's going to be 3ax squared minus c. Derivative of a constant, of course, is 0. Alright. Let's carry on. So now, question says, hence prove that C is 27, 8. So hence prove that C is 27, 8. People, the reason why I asked you this is we know what the turning point. So that means to say that if prime of negative 3 is equal to if prime of negative 3 is equal to 0, not 4. Many of you wrote 4. Why is it equal to 0? Stationary point, yes. The derivative is 0 at the stationary point. So if prime of negative 3 is equal to 0, so 3a times negative 3 squared minus c is equal to 0. People, that is 27. A equals negative c, so c is 27. So there we go. 8.4. 8.4 says, determine the value of a and c. Determine the value of a and c. So my equation now reads, f of x is equal to a, I'm going to keep a and change c, okay? A x cubed minus 27a x minus 2. Why do I do that, people? Oh, what I could have done is I could have substituted that a value into the first. Okay, which would have been a bit neater, so they'd rather go with that. So we're going to substitute, because this is on the graph, We can substitute A. If I substitute my x in, I get my y out. To substitute my y in, I get my x out. Into f of x is equal to ax cubed plus minus 6. Right? Yes, what's that? What papers? Oh, for what? Suicide. Nobody's doing suicide. Not yet. They will still write the what's the name paper? The mock exam. No? Yeah. If they know they're failing twice in that, there's something wrong with it. Okay. And now? You would like to do it. Not you? Alright. So we're going to substitute into f of x equals ax cubed minus 6 minus 2. Pleasure. You're telling me? I'm not going to commit suicide. People. Replies it. Yeah, right, so people, when we do the substitution, this is x and a y. So 4 is equal to a into negative 3 cubed minus c times negative 3 minus 2. So this now works out to be negative 27a plus 3c equals 6. Divided by 3, which gives me 2 equals negative 9a plus c. This is equation 2, and I label this equation 1. Okay, we'll carry on with this in our next lesson. Alright. Sorry, understand, okay? So let's go. So wherever we see a C, we replace it with 27a. So it's going to be 2 equals negative 9a plus 27a. Which now gives me 2 equals 18a. So a is equal to 9. Okay, so what do I need to do now? I need to solve for C. So C is 27 times 9. Give me an answer of 3. So there's your C and there's your A. Okay, which means to say now, yes? Sorry? Oh, now you're changing your words now, mincing your words. No, you don't want to be. Sorry? What did you say? Sorry?
What if you just solve for C and then solve for A?
You didn't solve for A. No, whose fault is that?
For C. And it's correct.
Is it correct? And I didn't mark it.
You said it wrong.
I said wrong. Okay, I will check it out now. So my equation now reads 1 over 9 x cubed minus 3x minus 2. No? Is that correct? Right, 1.5. In 1.5 we are given that a is equal to 9, 1 over 9, which now confirms our answer, no? And c is equal to 3. Find the equation of the tangent at x equal to minus 1. Find the equation of the tangent at x equal to minus 1. So the tangent is around here, no? So that line is going to go through like that. Determine the equation of the tangent. So the equation of the tangent will be in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. You all agree with that? So this point is minus 1 in some y value. So what I do is I put minus 1 into f of x. So minus 1 is equal to 1 over 9 negative 1 cubed minus 3 into negative 1 minus 2. So that gives you 1. So it's going to give you 8 over 9 in the negative. going to give you 8 over 9 the positive. Which means to say, that makes sense. Yes, it does, 100%. We see we are drawing the minus 1. Don't say yes as if you knew it. Minus 1 must come here. Now it makes sense. Okay, which means to say the point of contact is negative 1 and 8 over 9. That's the point of contact. So what do I do, people? I know my first derivative will give me the general gradient anywhere along the curve. So it's going to give you 1 over 3x squared minus 3. Now you sub negative 1 in there as well to get the gradient of the tangent at that point. So it's going to be 3 into negative 1 squared minus 3. So it gives you a third minus 3 is 9, is negative 8 over 9. Now 8 over 3. Okay. Which means to say my gradient is negative 8 over 3. So y is equal to negative 8 over 3x plus c. Now we're going to substitute that point in. So that is what the tangent looks like. We're going to substitute negative 1 and 8 over 9. Alright, so it's going to be 8 over 9 is equal to negative 8 over 3 times negative 1 plus c. So c works out to be, it's 8 over 9. This is going to be positive. Bring it over becomes negative 8 over 3. Going to give you negative 16 over 9. So therefore my equation now reads y is equal to negative 8 over 3x minus 16 over 9. Okay. What do you want? What must you be here now? Oh. Alright, you guys want to go? Hey! We will enjoy this every day. Now next lesson we will conclude this paper. Okay. Good morning, class.